Millions of South Africans are celebrating Heritage Day today. It's a day when the country displays and appreciates its diverse cultures and traditions. Heritage Day is being marked as the country battles the COVID-19 pandemic. The official event has been held virtually. The Department of Sports, Arts and Culture sent us this insert.
It's enough. Kwanele. Golekane, it's enough. Kwanele, Golekane, banna ba khoro, ba kwele basadi, tšea karolo ngwana wa thari, re fediše ntwa kgatlhanong le polao ya basadi. Taba ye ga se papadi morwa. Men, hear me out. Let's unite and fight, men to men. Let's take a stand and protect our mothers, our sisters and daughters, because Kwanele, it's enough. Golekane. Stop demanding respect in the name of culture. Teach your sons how to protect your daughters. Get out of that shell and confront your male friends to take a stand. United, we can put an end to gender-based violence and femicide and live in a better world. Because Kwanele, it's enough. Golekane. I salute the real men not by virtue of their six-pack, but when I see them, I still call them Sam, Mr. or Menier. Not those who act like maniacs and douchebags by laying a hand on a very beautiful princess. Instead of making a lips and thighs sweat, you perform your low standard and underestimated act and make your eyes sweat. As a matter of fact, man, let me tell you, you are weak and weak. Punch me in the face and let's see if it's gonna make you feel more of a man compared to the bruises and the scars you left on the neck. If I was the judge, I would sentence you twice your life. Let them assassinate you, hang you on the wall, and let you rot. Should leave you like bomb from generation, but Bob Marley's legacy will live from generations to generations because it's a true reflection of a real man. Don't be fooled by the traditional and cultural, generally acclimatized theories and ideologies that men are dominant. If it's so, why then current statistics prevail that more and more women are becoming prominent? Isn't that pure and clear evidence that you should embrace and acknowledge their existence? You moron, go back to your drawing board and conceptualize on the term respect and make an impact and become a real man. Because Kwanele, it's enough. Golekane.
The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture has a vision to promote an active, winning, creative and socially cohesive nation. To deliver the opening remarks and introduction to our President, please welcome Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Mr. Nathi Mthethwa.
The Program Director, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa. Premier Matavata, Premier of Limpopo Province, our host province this year. Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, Esther Mahlangu, fellow compatriots. It gives me pleasure to welcome you to this year's virtual celebration of the National Heritage Day. At the beginning of September, we launched Heritage Month under the theme celebrating South Africa's living human treasures. Heritage Day is part of our National Days program, and as government, we look to the National Days program to provide us with some foothold in giving our social cohesion and nation-building project further traction. That is, we look to the National Days program in general, and the Heritage Day in particular, to provide a platform onto which South Africans across racial, ideological, cultural and religious divide converge in a show of unity and human solidarity. In other words, we look to National Heritage Day as one of the levers to bridge existing divisions in our society. In respect of heritage, what then are we talking about when we talk heritage? In summary, heritage consists of our museums, monuments, heritage sites and resources, geographical place names, heraldry, national symbols, archives, public records, libraries, and information centers. In essence, these are symbolic markers or identifiers of who we are, our collective histories and national identity, in fact, our collective sense of self as a people. Celebrating heritage intimates a particular state of love, self-affirmation, and consciousness. Consciousness is a finite marker of our humanity and existence. And speaking of consciousness and mindful that we are celebrating living human treasures this year, I'm reminded of what one of Africa's greatest intellectual experts, who once intimated thus, and I quote, "Consciousness distinguishes humans from the rest of nature. In humans, death is marked by the end of consciousness. In that sense, all humans, to the extent that they are human, have a consciousness." Close quote. And as we seek to celebrate our heritage, our culture, and our collective sense of self, Ngugi wa Thiong'o further affirms his position on the centrality of consciousness in deciphering cultural subjugation. In the same lecture, Ngugi counsels us as follows, and I quote, "Economic and political subjugation are obvious, for you cannot convince a person who has lost his land to forget the lost, a person who goes hungry to forget his hunger, and a person who bears the whiplashes of an unjust system to forget the pain. But cultural subjugation is more dangerous because it is more subtle and its effects long-lasting. Moreover, it can make a person who has lost his land, who feels the pangs of hunger, who carries flagellated flesh, to look at those experiences differently. I'm thrilled that in this country, Ngugi's counsel did not fall on deaf ears. A mere look at a few that we have opted to celebrate affirms strongly this observation. As has been said, this month we celebrate all the living human treasures across the length and breadth of the country, who continue to inspire us, fill us with pride, and affirm our collective sense of self. I therefore wish to make this call on this day for all of us to identify, honor, and celebrate living human treasures from within our communities who are a repository of knowledge across an array of human endeavors. At a national level, I'm pleased to announce that we have selected 3 women of substance as flag bearers of our indigenous knowledge systems. These are women who have distinguished themselves in their chosen fields of occupation, putting South Africa on the map on a global stage. It is fitting on this Heritage Day, that we pay tribute to them whilst they are still alive. And these are Dr. Esther Mahlangu, Mama Madosini Mpahleni, and Ouma Katrina Letsau. This year's Heritage Celebration takes place within the context of a global pandemic that has ravaged lives and put our people under strain. Just as COVID-19 came with its untold suffering to many, it has also certainly presented us with opportunities. We have, for example, noted how many retreated to tried and tested therapeutics in handling COVID-19 outside of the usual Western medicine. And in the context of celebrating Heritage Day, this trend is an encouraging sign and may go a long way in instilling a sense of national pride. As customary and appropriate, the President of the Republic, who needs no introduction to any one of us, will now address as we celebrate Heritage Day. Mr. President, I now have the pleasure to invite you to the podium to address the nation. Thank you for your attention.
Fellow South Africans, Dumelang, Molweni, Sanbonani, Goeiedag, Tobela, Lochani, Demasiari, Inhlekani. Today we celebrate the unique and diverse heritage of this place we call home, Mzansi Africa, Africa Burwa, Africa Chipembe, Africa Dzonga, South Africa. Heritage Day is a time to appreciate the many facets of our cultures, customs, and traditions. It is the time when we put them on display to appreciate and celebrate and share our cultures, traditions, with others. We are the nation of the Maskandi, Malay choral music, and Soki Treffers, but also of Amapiano. We are the nation that is taking the world by storm with the hashtag Jerusalem Challenge, as young and old in many countries around the world, in France, in the UK, in Jamaica, in Angola, even in Palestine, East Jerusalem itself, are getting in on the craze of this Jerusalem song and dance. We're a nation of 11 official languages that also celebrates other languages commonly used by various communities in South Africa, including German, Greek, Gujarati, Hindi, Portuguese, Tamil, Telugu, and Urdu. We are a nation that steadfastly protects our other languages, Ngu, Nama, Isihlubi, Kilebedu, and other indigenous languages facing extinction. Heritage is a source of identity and cohesion for our nation. It makes us who we are. Heritage shapes and molds us and gives us a sense of belonging. It is the inheritance passed down from generation to generation, linking the present to the past. Heritage does not only find expression in our dress, our rituals, our food, our music, art, and language. It also finds expression in our natural world. South Africa is the third most mega biodiverse country in the world, with abundant fauna and flora. This is what makes South Africa the most beautiful country in the world. We are home to the most beautiful sites dating back to antiquity, opening a window into the lives of the earliest ancestors of humankind. Our indigenous knowledge systems, preserved by our elders and traditional healers, are a vital part of our heritage. Long before the advent of modern medicine, our ancestors used the herbs and plants that are so abundant here to heal, to give strength, and for sustenance. This year's Heritage Day is taking place in the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has taken a toll on human life, on communities, and on our economy. In this time of the pandemic, we have seen the knowledge of traditional medicinal plants increase. Inasmuch as we join the international community in the search for diagnostics and therapeutics and a vaccine, we are also looking at the real and important contribution indigenous knowledge systems, particularly traditional medicine, can play in improving the health outcomes of our people. In Heritage Month, we honor those who work so hard to preserve all aspects of our traditional and modern heritage. We pay tribute to the spirited defenders of our heritage that we have sadly lost this year. We've lost Ahmad Dango and Elsa Joubert, two celebrated authors whose works gave expression to the human condition under apartheid. We've had to bid farewell to the musical giant, the founder of Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and the father of Iskatamia, Ubabu Joseph Shabalala. We have lost the legendary photographer, Jürgen Skaderberg. We have also mourned the passing of Ouma one of the only remaining speakers of the endangered Ngu language. We pay tribute to them all, for in their own unique way, they have contributed to preserving our past, but also to defending the struggles of the past. It is because of them, and many like them, that we are today able to celebrate where we have come from. Yet as there are those who have passed from this life, we have our human living treasures, our repositories of knowledge, customs and traditions. This Heritage Month is dedicated to Dr. Esther Mahlangu, Mama Madosini, Latozi Mpahleni, and Mama Ouma Katrina. Dr. Mahlangu's paintings, inspired by Ndebele design, are on display in more than a dozen countries around the world, and her work has won numerous awards. Mama Madosini, the queen of Pondoland music, is the greatest living musician who can play the indigenous bow instruments. Mama Katrina is the champion of the culture of the San people and is one of the 2 last remaining speakers of the Ngu language. Over the years, she has single-handedly worked to keep the language alive by running a school for young people. As part of Heritage Month, we have launched 3 books that acknowledge the efforts of these great women. Throughout this month, we will be promoting greater awareness of their work, especially among young people. We will also promote the work of the many others who are doing so much to conserve our diverse customs and cultures. Fellow South Africans, it is important that generations that come after us must fully grasp the importance of the freedom we have all achieved. The men, women, and children of tomorrow must be proud to have inherited a democracy that affirms the worth and dignity of all our citizens. So long as this country's women and children live in fear from violence, we cannot regard ourselves as totally free. So long as women are being harassed, abused, beaten, raped, and murdered, we cannot say we are a civilized society. Abusing women is not our tradition, nor is it our custom. It is not and will never be our heritage. Throughout the history of this continent, women have built and shaped our societies. They have ruled kingdoms. They have been highly respected and valued. We must put an end to this terrible shame that is tainting the image of our country. When you oppress a woman, you oppress a nation. When you beat a woman, you beat a nation. We must do away with practices that discriminate against women. With the same determination, we must stand firm against attempts to disrespect our country's women through crude forms of representation in the media, in advertising, and in popular culture. An offensive hair advertisement that was recently published shows that we still have a long way to go. The apartheid government denigrated our cultures and tried to make us ashamed of our cultures, our traditions, our languages, and our very appearances. It is disheartening to see that in democratic South Africa, there are still crude stereotypes of black women being put on public display. The social cohesion we seek in this country means we must be mindful of the legacy of our past, whether we are businesses selling products, whether we are producers of content for television or otherwise. Building a united nation means we must be aware of and check our own acts of racism and prejudice continuously. We come from a history of prejudice and exclusion, and since democracy, we have worked to transform the heritage landscape of our country. The naming and renaming of towns and cities forms part of this, as well as the erection of new statues and monuments. Monuments glorifying our divisive past should be repositioned and relocated. This has generated controversy, with some saying we are trying to erase our history. Building a truly non-racial society means being sensitive to the lived experiences of all these countries' people. We make no apologies for this because our objective is to build a united nation. Any symbol, monument, or activity that glorifies racism, that represents our ugly past, has no place in democratic South Africa and must be repositioned and relocated. The struggle against apartheid was first and foremost aimed at ensuring that all our people should reclaim their dignity, black and white. Restoring their dignity is the preoccupation of this administration. In the wake of COVID-19 and well into the future, it will remain our singular concern. We will recover from this crisis and rebuild our lives and our economy. We will continue to strive to eradicate poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. We will continue to uphold the rights of all our people to practice their cultures, to speak their languages, and to practice their traditions. We will continue to support every effort to preserve our common heritage, as well as those of individual communities. As much as we celebrate our customs and traditions on this day, let us also appreciate that in practicing our cultures freely and openly, and in speaking our native languages, we are reclaiming not just our heritage, but our pride and our dignity as South Africans. I thank you.
Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondolo